Dr. Cutter with Chainsaw Hospital, and today we're going to be working on Jerry, and this is part 4 for the series. So be sure to check out the other parts up here, and I'll put a link to the playlist right there for you, so it's super easy to find. And I'll also have some information down in the description, so be sure to check that out. But we've been going through this thing trying to figure out what we need to get it going. We just got the chain sharpened up, just got the bar on there and all cleaned up, got the burrs removed from that, and went ahead and dressed the bar. So we're good to go there. Today we're going to be working on the carburetor. So let me get you in here really close. I made a little modification to the stop switch. Remember this wire was just hanging out here, and I think they were grounding it out against this screw right here. But I don't have that extra wire, nor do I have a parts wagon 038 yet. But what I did was I added this momentary stop switch right here. This or momentary switch, which is normally open, and then when you push it in like that, it's closed. So that's the stop switch now. So I put it over here on this side because I didn't want it around the handle where your hand might be if you were moving around. It could get hit if you have it on its side while you're felling or something like that. But if it's a problem, we can move it. It's just a 1/4-inch hole that was drilled in there to help, to hold it in there with the nut and the washer there. So it works great. And all I did was just take that wire that was going to the coil, the stop wire that used to go to this right here. And what I did was I cut that off and I spliced it in right here to one lead of this circuit, and then the other lead goes to ground right here. There's a ground screw right underneath here that goes to this AV mount that I put that extra piece onto for the ground right there. So did that, and then the other thing was, this is the old Tillotson carburetor here that I did not rebuild yet, and I have a kit coming for it. So we're not done with this yet. But what I did get was this Zama OEM steel carburetor that I found online, and that's a I'll put the number of it right down here so you'll know what it is. But it's the one that's listed in the illustrated parts list for an 038, and it works. It actually runs pretty good. So what we'll do now is we'll take it outside and we'll do a little tuning on it and see if we can get this thing to idle and rev up and run. So let's do that. To remove this throttle linkage from the carburetor without taking the handle off, what you'll do is squeeze the trigger like this, open the throttle, and use a screwdriver to hold it open right there, and then all you have to do is just pull this linkage out like that and then pick it up and then let it down. So now you're ready to remove your carburetor. So to go back, all you have to do is just open the throttle again. This is after you've put the carburetor back on. You can go ahead and push this throttle open like that, and then position the throttle linkage back into that groove right there, and now it's back in place. Looks like that has bent a little bit. Maybe we'll straighten that out while we're here, just kind of doing some final preparations before we take Jerry out for a run. That's pretty straight now. And remember, this chain brake is not working yet, so we might put something in there to space that up so it doesn't sit right in front of the exhaust port of this thing, because it looks like it was already starting to melt it right here. Found this cable tie I had laying around, and all I did was just cable tie it up to the handle right here, so that'll keep it out of the way of the exhaust port. This was missing a bar nut also, so I went ahead and I had an old one that I put on here too. I forgot to talk about the top handle here. The old one was broken, which you guys remember that from the video there, that you can see that part is snapped off, and it can be welded back, which I will get it welded back eventually. But I needed a handle on here if I was going to do any real testing with it, starting it up and stuff. So what I've done was actually I took an 028 handle off, the top handle off, of a scrap 028 that I had, and it's in pieces. It's missing stuff, and it was used to get Kaiser up and running with what was missing on that. But what I've done here, you can see these two screws line up perfectly fine on the side here, which is great. The only the only screw that does not line up, which is what this screw goes to, is this bottom part right here, and you can see that this was actually missing. It is missing because it doesn't line up right. So either I could go in here and drill a different hole, or just run with one screw right now, which I think is all I'm going to do, is just run with one screw, because it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to be doing any heavy logging with this thing. I didn't notice that was broken. Well, it's broken either way. Um, yeah, so that's up and running, and I've got a handle on here now, so an 028 handle will fit, just not super well. I mean, it fits fine, but I did test the top cover too, and this top cover is different for an 038 than an 028, because I just was like, oh, let me just see if that fits on there. Because wouldn't that be kind of funny to have an 028 tag on here so people think it's an 028? We've got Jerry here, and here we go. We're going to try to start Jerry up after we've done all that work to this Stihl 038. So I've got my choke set, and I've got some gas and oil in here. So we're going to check to see if the oiler is working. We really haven't checked that yet. And we're also going to check to see if the carburetor, that carburetor is going to actually kind of work. Might need a little tuning. Let's see how many pulls it'll take. Here we go. Okay, well, it is quite a bit warmer today than it was when I put it on there, or at least right now. And so that might be pushing the fuel up there, but it popped off. So I'm going to take the choke off and leave it on high idle. Let's see what happens. Okay, well, that went fairly well. You saw all the smoke in there. I'm not sure if that was just old gas and oil that was floating around in the crankcase, or what we had primed it up with in there in the chainsaw hospital when we were, trying to get it to go. We were seeing if we had spark, and it popped off, and all that good stuff. So uh, that's great. So way cool. So let's go see if we can find a piece of wood. Maybe we'll go over to, there's my test piece of wood over there. It's a piece of maple. Let's go over there. It's about yay big or so. So that'll help us kind of figure out if this thing is cutting decent or not. So let's go over there and check that out. So here we are at the test log. I've got, like I said, this piece of maple right here, getting pretty dried out. It's a kind of cracking a little bit here, but it'll be fine. So let's get Jerry fired up and see if we can make some test cuts in this log. So we'll take the switch, turn it to on there, and here we go. Okay. Kind of sounds like my tune is a little rich on here, which is fine. We can always lean it out a little bit. But let's see if it'll restart after that nice warm cut. You can see I haven't really had it hot yet. It's starting to smoke a little bit where some of that oil had maybe dripped on it when I was working on it. So I'm pretty good with that. I started off with the screws out about 1 1/4 turns each, so they might need to be leaned out a little bit. Well, let's see if it'll restart. All right, one more cut. Okay, well, not bad at all. I think the carburetor's going to need a little bit of tuning. I tell you something I'm going to check real quick, and this might be why the mix is kind of changing on me. It seemed like it wasn't necessarily lean before, but now it's really fat. So let's check something. I'm going to check these crank seals, and let's see if they're something's wrong with them. Because honestly, there probably is. It's so old. I doubt they've ever been changed. Let's try it out. Okay, I'm going to get it to a good idle, then I'm going to flip it over on its side. Yeah, okay. And I can almost guarantee, I mean, I just filled this thing up, so it should have, yeah, plenty of gas in there. So I'm thinking there's probably something wrong with the crank seals on this, but it does run, so that's good. That's great, actually. Piston still looks great in there. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching and being here and going along with me on these journeys, these adventures we're on with these old vintage power saws. So either way, remember, keep your chains sharp and stay safe.